I am going to demonstrate how to eliminate a zombie using a shotgun in this video that I have created for you. Monsters known as wild boars are stubborn creatures who possess tusks that are razor sharp and have terrible power. They are capable of destroying entire crops in the blink of an eye. Farmers are filled with fear because they are not only ferocious but also intelligent. They are able to sneak down small roots and are ready to charge when they are cornered. It is imperative that we, the hunters, take urgent action so that we do not allow them to continue their rampage. The question now, how do we defeat these beasts? This hunt is going to be really dramatic and exciting, so let's find out. At an early hour in the morning, we got into our reliable vehicle and set out on the road, headed in the direction of the mountain's base. This time, we were accompanied by hunting dogs who had been through extensive training and were specifically taught to detect and locate wild boars that were lurking in the terrain. As soon as we arrived, we made a hasty trek in the direction of the hunting site that had been prearranged. The unexpected barking of the hunting dogs reverberated throughout the neighborhood 5 minutes after the initial occurrence. Almost immediately, we headed in the direction of the origin of the sound. We were just about to arrive when a large wild boar suddenly emerged from the bushes below, desperately trying to escape the dogs that were following it. Immediately after it made its way through the underbrush, I pulled the shot without any hesitation. When the boar fell on the ground, there was no way for it to get away. A period of 15 minutes passed with no sound whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, the barking of hunting dogs could be heard coming from the depths of the forest. It is likely that they could have detected the aroma of a wild boar. The sound became more audible and drew nearer. I concentrated quickly, attempting to zero in on the precise location of the target. The thick brush was where it was emerging from, racing forth. I then pressed the trigger after ensuring that my barrel was in line with its movement. An explosion of gunfire caused the boar to fall to the ground, rendering it incapable of moving forward in any direction. Following that successful shot, we made a hasty ascent up the side of the mountain. The dogs, which were hiding in the bushes below, made another loud barking sound. We moved forward in order to investigate the region. I didn't hesitate to pull the trigger when the wild boar suddenly raced upward. I was ready to shoot it. The shot proved to be the deciding factor. The boar fell on the ground, unmoving, with no hope of reaching any further escape. In addition, we had a team station that we were supposed to intercept at the base of the mountain. The wild boar was attempting to conceal itself as they got closer to it. The boar was compelled to come out of its hiding place as a result of this severe pressure. As it emerged from its hiding place, Lucas prepared to launch an assault on the target that it was destroying by raising his rifle. In a short amount of time, we were able to identify the next target, which was a wild boar that was being compelled to emerge from its hiding location by the hunting dogs. I was able to swiftly track its movement, take aim, and squeeze the trigger for the weapon. As the sound of the bullet reverberated across the open air, the boar fell to the ground, immobile in this position. We swiftly utilized our phones to determine the direction in which it had escaped. After a member of our team indicated that it had escaped, there was a reverberation between the sound of the hunting hounds and the neighboring woodland. It was attempting to escape. I aimed my rifle, raised it to my shoulder, and then pressed the trigger. While we were making our way down the mountain, my hunting dog suddenly began barking at a very high volume. The wild boar must have been detected in the vicinity. Following a brief pursuit by the hounds, the boar ran away, completely oblivious to the fact that someone had been setting up an ambush. And with the single shot, it was rendered completely immobile and unable to move. Once more, we addressed a threat to our local farms in a prompt and efficient manner. My uncle's farm in Texas was completely destroyed by a herd of wild boars in the span of a single night. In spite of the fact that he was a seasoned hunter, he was easily overwhelmed by the sheer quantity of pigs and their brazenness this time. Due to the fact that he had no other option, he requested assistance from our hunting crew. Following the completion of the strategy, we directly started our search on the land that belonged to my uncle. We installed automatic feeders in order to entice the boars to come in. Distracted by the aroma of food, the pigs arrived in a hurry, eagerly searching for whatever scraps of food they could find. Maurice carefully took her position, fixed on her target, and then 1, 2, 3, fire. This occurred while their guard was down to a lower level. An unblemished single shot, Her ability to drop the boar was astounding, and she did so with complete assurance. During the same time period, my friend Inda and I discovered a few additional boars hiding in the vicinity. Once I was close enough, I selected my target, and then I pulled the trigger. A lead pellet fired from my air gun made contact with the body of the boar. Surprisingly, it gave forth a piercing shriek before slumping to the ground. I didn't win by a significant margin, but it was a win nevertheless, and that got me pumped up. Seeing that there is power in numbers, we dispersed ourselves over the region in order to increase our chances. Every one of us concentrated very hard, aiming with great care, and firing our rounds quickly and decisively. The aim is to drop as many as you can before the sun goes down that night. The following afternoon, we went back out on the farm grounds to continue the hunt. Almost immediately after our arrival, we came upon a sizable herd of fully grown boars. They stood motionless, monitoring us with a wary eye. Almost instantly, I brought one into my line of sight and fired. Even with the single shot, one of them was able to hit the ground immediately. Next, we walked toward another feeder that we had already positioned. Despite the fact that they were still caught in the invisible trap of their appetite, the boars had not yet noticed us. As I waited for the ideal shot, I positioned my rifle in a prone position from a high vantage point. A single squeeze of the trigger resulted in a loud cracking sound coming from the gun. Quickly, the boar fell to the ground. During the time that the sun was setting, we continued to spread feed and waited. In accordance with their nature, the gluttonous pigs were unable to resist the aroma, regardless of where they were located. I moved closer to them while concealing myself behind a shrub and keeping a distance from them. When I was certain that my target was within striking distance, I pulled the trigger. Only one shot that was well placed was all that was required to bring the hag down. After the sun had set, we went back to our enclosed hunting blinds to complete the last round of the game. I positioned myself in a favorable position, brought my aim into focus, and then shot when the time was right. The execution was flawless. The shadowy figure retreated and lay down in a position that was perfectly still. Locals in a city in Serbia are facing an increasingly serious threat from wild boars. This threat is becoming more severe. The horrific creatures that these beasts have become, which may weigh up to several hundred kilos, have caused a great deal of anxiety in a great number of people. In an effort to address this matter, the authorities in Serbia have granted permission for organized hunts in order to manage the wild boar population and safeguard the settlements that are located nearby. We were resolute in our mission to eliminate each and every wild boar that had caused damage to the farms in the area over the course of the previous week. We were really fortunate to have a pack of hunting dogs on our side when we were traversing such a difficult terrain that was full of innumerable twists and turns. After ensuring that everything was in its proper order, I began climbing the mountain by myself. Before a few minutes had passed, the cries of the dogs could be heard across the woodland. A wild boar was encircled by enemies. There were no problems taking place at all. In a hurry, I went in and shot my weapon to put an end to it. Just right, my shot hit the target head-on, causing it to fall to the ground instantaneously. A little over 5 minutes later, the group discovered yet another boar living on the slope of the mountain. One simply could not afford to miss out on such a fantastic opportunity. I quickly raised my rifle, aligned my sights, and pulled the trigger on the weapon. When I heard the snarling of our hunting dogs a few hundred meters up the trail, I immediately became extremely vigilant. My goodness, it had been a very long time since I had seen such a massive gathering of wild boars. Because I was prepared with my rifle, I repeatedly pressed the trigger, which resulted in a barrage of bullets being fired. While they were in close proximity to one another, two of the boars collapsed in a muddy place, making their final sounds of kicking and grunting. The more we proceeded into the forest, the more densely packed the trees grew, making it more difficult to observe, track, and shoot. Fortunately, with the assistance of our dogs, things became a lot less difficult. They were able to locate the boars' hiding places in a short amount of time and barked loudly to inform us. Our entire crew immediately tightened their formation and prepared their rifles as soon as we heard that recognizable sound. As the pursuit became increasingly frenzied, A loud gunshot could be heard. It seems incomprehensible that my friend Morgan was able to kill the boar with a single clean shot. Additionally, please have a look at our prize, which is a massive beast that weighs close to 200 kilograms. There is always a way for nature to surprise us with gifts, and today, the wild boars that were in front of us were the next gift in line before we received them. Because our dogs were relentlessly pursuing them, the herd was forced to disperse and flee, and, as a result, they broke formation. Taking advantage of the situation, I did not hesitate. I positioned myself and took aim at the target. The moment I fired the trigger, I watched the boar go down the slope with a sense of pride, my heart pumping with excitement and a sense of satisfying accomplishment. In a short amount of time, our canines with acute noses were able to zero in on another target. After moving in, we began to keep a tight eye on the situation. It was Elmer's intention to take a shot this time. After the boar had been secured, he pressed the trigger on the firearm. Upon receiving a single fatal shot, the boar fell to the ground and rolled down the slope of the hill. Do you believe that we are still able to take down enormous wild boars even if we do not have any firearms? Our intellect, strategic planning, and the utilization of specialist instruments have allowed us to establish an efficient method for controlling this invasive species. In order to guarantee our success, we make use of a wide range of strategies, ranging from creative and conventional approaches to automatic traps and hunting dogs. Participate with us in this exhilarating and arduous trip, where the conclusion is determined by your level of expertise and experience. You are going to be astounded by the unorthodox hunting techniques that we employ, which are incredibly successful. Boars in the wild are among the most ravenous animals that can be found in the wild. They are able to devour up to 4 to 5 kilograms of food on a daily basis since they consume an omnivorous diet and have an insatiable hunger. Their cuisine consists of a wide variety of foods, including roots, fruits, seeds, insects, frogs, vegetables, and even carrion. Even more concerning is the fact that when there is a scarcity of food, they will not hesitate to attack human farmlands, poultry farms, and even cattle farms, wreaking havoc on rice fields and fruit orchards. For this very reason, it is imperative that human beings discover methods to exercise control over their population before the situation becomes out of hand. Ever ponder the possibility of eliminating these crafty intruders without resorting to the use of firearms? This solution can be found in an old weapon known as the bow and arrow, which has been associated with significant hunting endeavors ever since the beginning of time. There were no booming gunshots, and there was no lingering gunpowder. All that was heard was the silent patience of hunters waiting for the ideal moment to strike. Currently, we are making use of broadhead arrows that have blades that are razor sharp and are designed to achieve maximum penetration and a speedy kill. 2010. A herd of wild boars emerges beside a muddy pool. This event takes place not too far away. One of them is the target of my meticulous aim. Even if I have made the discovery, I must not haste. To achieve precision with a bow, patience is required. My heartbeat is audible to me in my ears. An accurate hit is made by the arrow as it travels through the air. The boar makes a valiant effort to escape, but the fatal wound brings about its demise. It is a beautiful takedown, and it marks the beginning of an aggressive chase. It crashes onto the ground. Following a length of time spent searching, we come across a herd of wild boars that are wandering cautiously along the border of the woodland. My partner gets down on his knees, draws his bow, takes slow, deliberate aim, and then lets go of the arrow without any hesitation. Despite the fact that it cuts through the wind, the crafty boar dives into the underbrush and manages to escape by a hair's breadth. We tighten our grips on our weapons and move deeper into the pursuit of the prey, as we are resolute in our determination to prevent the creature from escaping. Arrows are shot through the dense vegetation, and this time, we do not give the destructive beast the opportunity to flee. With very little difficulty, we are able to capture a couple of them through our dogged pursuit. Our group continues to push further into uncharted terrain. Suddenly, as if nature itself had bestowed upon us an opportunity, a chubby wild boar appears in our line of sight, obliviously searching for food. Simply hearing a single sound is sufficient to scare it, causing it to remain still for a fraction of a second before it runs away. Due to the fact that my arrow shoots like a lightning bolt and hits it squarely, it is already too late. Before crashing into the thick grass, the creature rides, letting out piercing sounds that reverberate across the jungle. As I continue my journey, I come across a herd of approximately 10 boars that are congregated around a watering hole, a magnificent chance to seize. There is no doubt on my part as I draw my bow, aim it properly, and then let go. As it travels through the still air, the arrow penetrates one of them and becomes embedded beneath it. It makes an attempt to leave along with the terrified herd, but rapidly its strength begins to wane, and it ends up colliding with the ground. The jungle is sweltering under the blazing sun by the time midday arrives. We have set up camp in order to recuperate, but we are keeping a close check on the surrounding area. It is then that a gigantic dark figure suddenly materializes from the distance, its hefty steps squeezing dry the ground.